Good afternoon, I'm Maria Lindila Cruz Mundihar from BSA IS 1A. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the cash and cash equivalents. So let's start. Cash and cash equivalents. Let's define first cash. Cash simply means money, and money is the standard medium of exchange in business. But in accounting, cash has a special and deep meaning. It is more than just money. In accounting, cash includes money and any other negotiable instrument that is payable into money and acceptable by the bank for deposit and immediate credit. Accordingly, cash includes checks, bank drafts, and money orders. Because it is acceptable by the bank for deposit or immediate encashment. So, sabi dito, ang cash daw sa accounting ay hindi lang siya umiikot sa pera. It also includes other negotiable instrument that is payable in money and acceptable by the bank for deposit and immediate credit. Kasama nga dito yung checks, bank drafts, and money orders. So, for further information, I'll give an example. So, for example, I receive a checks. At kahapon lang ito prepare. So, for example, I received 10,000. So, yung 10,000 na yun, pwede ko siyang i-convert into cash or deposit into a bank. What if yung checks is post-dated? So, post-dated check received cannot be considered as cash yet because these checks are unacceptable by the bank for deposit and immediate credit or outright encashment. So, for example, I have checks here but the date written on it is January 1st, 2022. So, di ko pa siya pwedeng i-deposit into a bank or convert into a cash. Because it is not acceptable by the bank, magiging cash lang ito on the date written on it onward. So, pwede ko siyang i-convert into cash or i-deposit into a bank kapag January 1st onward na. So, yun po. Unrestricted cash. An entity shall classify as asset as current when the asset is cash or a cash equivalent unless it is restricted from being exchanged or used to settle a liability for at least 12 months after the end of reporting period. So, sabi dito, it is reported as cash when an item is unrestricted in use. So, kung may pera ka sa bangko, dapat lagi siyang available to use or to withdraw. In that, it is considered as cash. Pero kapag ang pera mo naman ay restricted to withdraw, hindi siya mako-considered as cash in accounting. So, dapat unrestricted cash para makonsidered siya as a cash in accounting. So, cash items include in cash on hand, cash in bank, cash fund set. The items that includes in cash on hand are the bank drafts, cashier's or manager's check, customer's check, money orders, traveler's check, and deposit cash collections. And the items that include in cash on bank are the demand deposit or checking account and saving deposit. So, in cash fund set, ito naman yung mga cash na nakaset aside for particular purposes. So, dividend fund, payroll fund, and petty cash fund. So, cash equivalents are short-term and highly liquid investment that are readily convertible into cash or so near their maturity that they present insignificant risk of changes in value because of changes in interest rates. So, it is stated that they only high liquid investment, meaning it is easily convertible into cash. Highly liquid investment that are acquired 3 months before the maturity date is classified as cash equivalents. So, laging tandaan yung cash equivalents must be acquired 3 months before the maturity dates. Kapag ito ay lumampas, it is not considered as cash equivalents. So, in cash equivalents, always note that the date of purchase is important, which should be 3 months or less before the maturity date. So, Here's are the examples of cash equivalents. 3-month BSP treasury bill, 3-month money market instrument or commercial paper, 3-month time deposit, 3-year BSP treasury bill purchased 3 months before the maturity date, and preference share with specified redemption date and acquired 3 months before redemption date can qualify as cash equivalents. Investment and excess of cash. So dito, ang excess of cash ay yung mga cash na hindi nagagamit at yung mga iniiwasan ni company. And for that, to avoid excess cash, it will invest to earn money, and it may invest in time deposits, money market instrument, and treasury bills for the purpose of earning interest income. Investment should be classified as follow. If the term is 3 months or less, is classified as cash equivalents. If it is more than 3 months but within 1 year, it is classified as long-term investment or temporary investment. If the term is more than 1 year, it is classified as long-term investment. However, if such become due within 1 year from the end of the reporting period, they are classified as current asset. Measurement of cash. Cash is measured at face value. Cash in foreign currency is measured at the current exchange rate. So kapag meron kang pera in foreign currency for reverting purposes, dapat i-measured mo ito for current exchange rate. If the bank or financial institution holding the funds of an entity is in bankruptcy, cash should be written down to estimate the realizable value if the amount recoverable is estimated to lower than the face value. For example, the entity has 2 million and the bank is in bankruptcy. So yung 2 million ni entity ay hindi na niya makukuha ng buo. So let's say ang ibibigay na lang ng bangko is 500,000 na lang. So yung 2 million ni entity should be written down to estimate the realizable value, which is 500,000 na lang. And financial statement presentation. In financial statement, cash and cash equivalent should be shown in the first line item and the current asset. The caption includes all cash items such as cash in hand, cash in bank, petty cash fund, and cash equivalents, which are unrestricted in use for current operation. Foreign currency. The cash in foreign currency should be translated to Philippine peso using the current exchange rate. Cash fund for certain purposes. If the cash fund is set aside for the use in the current operation or for the payment of current obligation, it is a current asset. Cash fund are included as cash equivalents as long as it is used in current operation or for the payment of current obligation. If the cash fund is set aside for non-current purposes or payment of non-current obligation, it is shown as a long-term investment. Examples of this fund are sinking fund, preference share redemption fund, contingent fund, insurance fund, and fund for acquisition or construction of property, plant, and equipment. Classification of cash fund. The classification of cash fund as current or non-current should be parallel to the classification of related liability. So dito, the classification of cash fund ay naka-line sa pertaining liability niya o kung ano yung purpose niya. If it is for current purposes or non-current purposes. So, bank overdraft. When the cash in bank account has a credit balance, it is said to be an overdraft. It results from issuance of checks in excess of the deposit. So, ang normal balance ng cash in bank is debit kapag nag-credit balance siya. that result an overdraft, which means mas marami yung outflows ng pera than the inflows. Rule on overdraft. A bank overdraft is classified as a current liability and should not be offset against other bank accounts with debit balance. But there is an exemption. When an entity maintains two or more accounts in one bank and one account results in an overdraft, such overdraft can be offset against the other bank account with debit balance. So, ibig sabihin, kapag may dalawang bank account ang isang entity sa isang bangko and yung isang account ay bank overdraft, pwede siyang i-offset to the other account in debit balance. So, I have here an example. As you can see, there are three banks. The Card Bank current asset 1 million, Land Bank current asset 2 million, UCPB Bank current asset overdraft 500,000. Cash in bank in total is 3 million. Yan. Because there is no two accounts in one bank. So, the bank overdraft 500,000 is still in current liability. Hindi siya magiging current asset. So example number 2. Card Bank current asset 1 million, Land Bank current asset 900,000, Land Bank current asset overdraft 500,000, cash in bank. So dito may dalawa siyang account in one bank. So ang magiging sagot niya is 1.4 million, which is 1 million plus 900,000 less 500,000. So, compensating balance. A compensating balance generally takes the form of minimum checking or demand deposit account balance that must be maintained in connotation with a borrowing arrangement with a bank. So, kapag may hiniram na pera si entity sa bangko, ay meron siyang dapat i-maintain, which is the compensating balance. So, for example, an entity borrow 1 million from a bank and agrees to maintain a 10% or 100,000 minimum compensating balance in demand deposit accounts. Classification of compensating balance. If the deposit is not legally restricted to withdraw because of an informal compensating balance is part of cash, and the deposit is legally restricted because of the formal compensating balance agreement, it is classified separately as current asset if the loan is short term, if the loan is long term, and the compensating balance is classified as non-current investments. Classification of compensating balance. If the deposit is not legally restricted to withdraw because of an informal compensating balance. So, kapag unrestricted siya to withdraw, it is part of cash. So, if the deposit is legally restricted because of a formal compensating balance agreement, it is classified as separately as current asset if the loan is short term. And if the loan is long term, the compensating balance is classified as non-current investment. So, undelivered or unreleased check. It is one that is merely drawn and recorded but not given to the payer before the end of reporting period. So, dito, yung check is already prepared but not yet delivered or unreleased to the payee. So, wala pang payment na nagaganap in that cash still in debit balance and credit accounts payable. Post-dated checks delivered means that the checks are drawn, recorded, and already given to the payees, but they bear a date subsequent to the end of reporting period. So, ito na yung kanina na yung checks ay already prepared but the date written on it is for example, January 1st, 2022. So, hindi pa siya magiging payment until January 1st, 2022 onwards. So the cash still be in cash, debit, and credit accounts payable. Stale checks. is a check not in cash but the pay within a relatively long period of time or within the 6 months. If the amount of stale check is immaterial, it is simply accounted for as miscellaneous income. The accounting entry is as follows. So dito, bayad na yung accounts payable, kaya ang gagamitin ng account titles is miscellaneous income. So if the amount of stale check is material and a liability is expected to continue, the entry is as follows.